See, whenever you mute yourself once you join, because everybody is recording the sessions, right? Like, so I gave permission. See, if anybody did not get permission, could you please let me know so that I can provide it. Regular expressions. So regular expressions are what is the purpose of using regular expressions is, see, not only identify, see, some cases where you have the data in the text or in a string format. So for example, where you can use some other cases where you would like to identify invoice numbers. Okay, maybe if you are extracting the data from the PDF. Okay, so we will use this one also, regular expressions as well. So in order to identify invoice numbers, total amount or invoice date or vendor names. Okay, so it depends on our, see, we cannot discuss each and everything in the class. See, we will tell you that how to use that one concept, or if you take any topic, how to use it. So we need to explore more about that, because see, either by practicing or whenever you are working on real time, so you should know more. That is the only things. Okay, because now you are learning, right? So I would request you, please go through different sites in order to do some or R&D on that. So then you will explore more about. Okay, you don't need to worry about nobody knows everything. It depends on their what is the topic they are what is the use case they are working on that. So it depends on the company. Okay, and it depends on so what kind of projects they in that company they are automating. Okay. So now we will discuss about, So did we discuss PDF automation, PDF extraction? Yes or no? Can you please let me know, anyone? Mahesh. వినిపించలేదు మహేష్. నో రైట్.
చెప్పలేదు.
ఓకే. PDF extraction, I believe maybe. Okay.
చెప్పలేదన్న PDF extraction.
సరే మహేష్. Now we'll see. Okay. First we'll see small concept, that is yesterday as we discussed. See, in some cases we will have a web API or API, application programming interface. That is like now in order to like now when you consider .NET, so there will be some web services concepts. So like now whenever you will have one URL, so URL is nothing but, okay, go to Chrome. So docs. This is also one URL. So docs.apath.com. Okay. Or gmail.com is one URL. So okay. And google.com is also one of the URL. You can call it, say, different URLs. So some of the cases, like no, for some clients, most of the automations can be done. Maybe when you are having web API. Okay. So what is web API? So web API is a framework for building HTTP services that can be accessed from any client, including browsers. Okay, so that means that so there will be an API. So in order to interact with any one of the services over the HTTP protocols or over the HTTP services. So that is called like no, web API. So here and we will have one more concept called web services also. See, these are all for like now whenever you would like to interact with some of the services running internally with the like applications. So where we need to communicate with that service and we have to fetch the some of the information out of that. So usually like no, we have used like no web services or web APIs. For example, like no, there is one concept called where so we will send some PDF document. So what it does is like no, there is one web service. That web service will extract the data from the PDF, because like no, in the beginning this RPA doesn't support that extracting the PDF data. Okay, so that can be used in by using like no artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms, machine learning models. So those things under like no at the time it was not supported. So recently only like no in the version 2016 under there is no concept of like no PDF extraction like no AI fabric and machine learning like no models integration with the UI yeah like no AI path and all. Like no, recently these concepts and all has been introduced and like no making like we work with the artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then only like no these AI path was like no popular in the beginning like no for like no 5 years back. So there is no support all these like no technologies. So during that time, so whenever you like to whenever you have your data like no where scanned PDFs, okay, or PDFs with the different formats, like no where we will have some TIFF images. So in that TIFF images like no where we need to extract some data. So in order to extract the data from the TIFF images, okay, usually like no most of the companies will provide a TIFF images like no in order to extract because of the security, okay, or like no scanned PDF documents or scanned images. So those things and the like no where we will return some AML, artificial intelligence and machine learning machine learning technologies. So from that, so like now whenever we send like now some what is it image ID like no document ID. So based on the document ID, we will extract the data and we will get the result. So that is called whenever we are sending the data. So whenever you are coming with the server through services, so we will retrieve the data based on that. So that is how like no web services works. Okay. See, if you want to know more about web services, because like if you are not familiar with that, what is web services? Okay. So like now when I go for, you will have more information about what is web service. See, so you don't need to know how the web services work or like no like no on which technology they built and see just like no. So what is web services? That's it. See, whenever you are attending an interviews or like, so whenever you see hereafter you would like to work on the UI path, right? So for that, so you should know what is web services and what is like no web API, what are the API calls, so how it works. Okay. So those things and all like no you should know. See, for example, there is one site. Just consider this one. So if I enter a name, so we will get the details of name, age, and so likewise, I pass my name. See, don't think that like no, my age is 57. So if I like no, see, you can try your name. So this API dot See, this is one of the web API or in the interview they will ask you that, do you have an experience how to call web API, how to call web services, have you done anything? So you have to tell that yes, I have done that. I know that how to call. So for that, because of this, even you will have to see in real time as well. This calling web API methods, sorry, web APIs and calling web services URL and get some data out of that. What is the data we would like to fetch? Okay, so here I am passing this to everyone. So you can give, yeah, see, you can give any name over here. So randomly it will pick the data. See, this is about when you provide a name, so it will fetch age of a the person who. Okay. So any name you can give. So like that, there are some freely available web services web APIs. So where we can practice some of the things. So in order to know how it will fetch the data out of that. See, this is the one. Now, see, just now we tried, right? That is the one. There are 15 web APIs where you get for Bitcoin. So this is one of the things. Where so these are all the websites web APIs where we can get for us to practice. We can get. Okay. What is the code? States US dollars or British pounds depends on. Okay. So these are all the, even I will send you this for for practice purpose. You can practice. See, one API how it works. If you practice it, that is enough. If you have 100 URLs where you don't need to practice for all this. Okay, so only one is enough. You don't need to worry about that. You should know that how it works. So what kind of data you are trying to fetch it, and after extracting the data, then you should know about how to call it. So whenever you are calling a web service web APIs or web services, so how you can do that from what is that UI path? Okay, you should know that. So web API. My manager will call, yeah, like no, whenever I am like no doing the sessions only. So he never call like no whenever I am free. Okay. So see, in order to call a web API or like no any like no in order to see, for example, not only web API. See, for example, sometimes like no where we need to fetch some of the data. So whenever we are fetching like no, whenever we would like to receive some data, so so whenever you would like to web APIs can be used. Can be used like no to know what kind of like no output we will receive. Based on the output, what is the action we will like to perform. Okay, so even like no for that reason as well, like no we will use this calling like no web services. So web APIs are like no. So for that, so first we need to know, so there is a like no activity called HTTP request. So see, we did not get that like no HTTP request. So for that, we have to go to the manage packages. See, like no in an interview, if they ask that, for example, like no, if you are trying to call a website like no web API, so what is the activity you will use? Usually, like no, you have to tell that. So we will use HTTP request. So are you get that HTTP request by default into the activities panel? So no. So for that, what we have to do? We have to like no import the library. Import the packages. Okay. So this is see every day like no whenever you are like no adding the packages like no we usually go to the all packages and like no we will search for right. This is web API. See. So in that UiPath.webAPI.activities. This is called a package. Install it and then save it. Okay, this is the way how we will import a library or package. So you have to tell in an interview as well. So whenever you get the question like this. Okay. So now type the same HTTP. So we get HTTP request. Okay. So this is so what is the endpoint? So this is the like now web API we would like to use and call this an endpoint. Okay, and enable SSL certification. What is the timeout? So what is the client certificate? What is the client certificate password and request method? See, this is what is the purpose of calling this using this web API? So we will. So what we need to get the information from this URL, correct? So we are not posting any information into that. So we are trying to fetch the data from the like that web service or web API. So for that we have to use request method as get. So here we are using request method as get. So what are the methods are there? So the request methods are get, post, put, delete, head, options, patch. So we don't get and post. Like no, get is for getting the information. Post is for post the data into the like no that web API. So web API inside like no they will have the like no the integration with the integrate with the database as well. So it depends on. So how you see here whenever you are calling this, so how you are getting the like no value out of that because like no, the data has been stored in the database. So whenever you are hitting this service, it will go on interacting with the right web server and will like now we are getting the data out of that. Okay, with the matching values. So here post and put delete. So if you want to delete something, so we will use delete. So it is get post. So we usually like no we will use get only. We never use get like no for that. So why do you use why do you use like no UI path for that? So we can use web services like no there are a lot of web services. So where like no we will use post and then put and delete. So usually like no the calling of the web service web API is to extract the data out of that to fetch the data from the web services. Okay. So we usually use, see, you have to tell the request method is get. See, they will ask you that like no how you will use. So you have to tell that in endpoint we have to try like not tell the what is the web API request. That means the URL, and then you have to select the request method. So that is the like no if you have any authentication. So for example, like no whenever you are connecting to web application, sorry, what is that like no web services. See, like no, you have to provide the username and password for that in order to communicate with that or logging into the. So the request method is get and authentication. It is a simple HTTP. So you have to provide the username and password. If it is a auth, so these authentication details and all can be provided like no whenever they are providing a web API URL. So you don't need to worry about like how you will get the information about this, like where we will get this information under. Okay, and so OAuth 2. See, whatever it may be, they will provide each and every details except this. Okay, so you have to select this get. Okay, and they will give this as well endpoint. Okay, so here none, because we are not at all using anything. And okay, just click on preview. We got the result in this. So here, here you will get one more question. Whenever you are calling a web API, what is the status code you will receive? The status code you will receive is, the status code is 200, means the web API or web service is successfully able to communicate with the service. This request is successfully able to communicate with that. So status code 200 is nothing but failed. Okay, you have to remember this. What is the status code 200 and what is the, so if it is failed, what is the status code you will receive? So in order to know whether really do you have an experience in calling web API or not through HTTP request in UAP. That's what I'm telling you. For see, if you carefully listen my video, okay, after this session or during this session as well, so you will able to understand all the questions in interviews. Okay. Now click on OK. Come to the properties. Phone it here. Phone.
మండి ఇది ఏంటంటే కావాలి
So go to here and see what are the clients. You see, it is a client certificate authentication. Client certificate password, enable SSL certificate verification, secure client certificate password. These are all the. See, if you have this client certification authentication, then only we have to put the in common, continue another, display name and timeout. These are all the common things. You don't need to worry. So input, what is the accept format? So whenever you are fetching, whenever you are calling a web API request, so what is the format of data you are about to get it? So here, the famous one is the most important and the popular one is, so they will ask you that, what are the accepting formats? So it is JSON. Okay. Yeah, accept a format is JSON or XML. JSON or XML. So this one we will use for JSON. The famous is, what is JSON? Java script object notation. It will be in the form of name and value pair. Okay. So what kind of method it is? So in the the request method we selected is get. And now what? And then options. path to options. And then we have to see whenever we calling the web service or web request. So what is the output we will get? So the two things we should know. Control K. What is this? Control K. Status code. Status code. And what is the result? Control K. Result. So status code is of type integer and the result is what is it? String. So see, I don't want to getting some an exception and throw the exception for example if the site is not reachable. Okay, the URL was not reachable. So definitely it will throw an exception and it will fail, right? So I don't want to go for an exception and throw and then terminate the process. So for that, what is this? Status code. Okay. Status code equal to 200. Then only just go and fetch the value. Just go and do some. I will. So right time. Here it is the result, right? So see, we got the output as this is their JSON type. What is that JSON type? JSON type is name and value. So this is name. That means name and value means name is Michael. Name is name and value is Michael. Name is age and value is 69. Name is count and value is this one. So it will be of type name and value pairs. See, dictionary when you talk about the dictionaries, dictionaries are as of type key and value pairs, right? So similarly, it is name and value. So age is name and value is 69. Age is count and value is this. So this is about see, it will be like see, this is called JSON format. So if you have the format in the JSON format, it is called serialization. Okay, so we can call that format as JSON format. So I would like to extract that. They are I would like to deserialize that JSON format. So this is also one of the very important feature. How do you deserialize a JSON object? So for that, so we have an activity called deserialize JSON. Okay, so this activity we have, and then see what is the result we got. Just pass this result. And what is the output you are getting out of this when you are calling a deserialize. So you are, see, this is also very important whenever you call a HTTP request, and what is the output you are what kind of output you are expected. So you are we got the output would be in JSON format. So for that we have used deserialize the JSON activity. So we deserialize the JSON object. So and then what is the output? So here it is output as control K JSON object. Okay. So we will get the output as JSON object. Okay, now see, once you get the JSON object, so what we have to do? So you have to use some string manipulations, like no string dot split, or see you want to retrieve out of maybe some of the cases where we have to retrieve first name last name, or some of the cases where we will have use email ID, or some of the cases where vendor ID or vendor name, or then total amount. Okay, if it is the invoices, so it depends on your requirement. So you will receive the data. Once you receive the data, so you have to use some string manipulations, or split based on the comma or based on the colon. So you will get each and every value separately. Like no, AC. This format is name and value, right? So name equal to, okay, is, so if you use comma, so you will get for each and everything in a separately. That means name. So then we are we will use name. What is name, and what is the yes, and what is the count. So you will get the values out of the key and value, right? You can convert that into dictionary, and you will get key and value phase. See, it depends on your requirements again. What do you want? So what is this? JSON object dot to string. So here you will able to, if you want to create convert into dot to array or to list, you can. So to dictionary also you can create. So it be easily we can, if you convert that into an array, so it will be divided into an array. So then we will use for each loop, and we will extract each and every value. So my battery is low. I would like to stop here today. See, okay. Now it is elaborately we got it. I came to my hometown. So maybe tomorrow we will I will charge it before having the session. then we will able to okay compensate this. So we got it. So yeah, out of this, like now, if you convert this into list, like array or like no, two dictionary, so we will get even more simple format. So where we can extract and like no pass to the application. Okay, this is the purpose of using. What is it? Like now, how to use a web API. So we can call it a web APIs or web services. Okay, friends. Okay. Thank you. That is all about today. So we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see PDF extraction. Okay. Okay then. Thank you. Bye. There మళ్ళీ ఊర్లో లేవా?
లేను మా హైదరాబాద్ వచ్చాను అప్పుడే.
హైదరాబాద్ వచ్చా? నేను ఇప్పుడే ఊరికి వచ్చా.
ఏంటి ఈ రోజా?
అవునవును.
మళ్ళా రిటర్న్ ఎప్పుడు?
సండే మార్నింగ్ అనుకుంటుండా. సండే మార్నింగ్ కానీ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ కానీ వస్తావేమో ఊరికి.
వచ్చి 1 వీకే మా అవుతుంది.
అవునా సరే.
అది ఎలా అప్లోడ్ చేసావు మా అవన్నీ?
ఏవి వీడియోసా?
పార్ట్ 3 పార్ట్ 4 అన్ని పంపించావు. పార్ట్ 2 3 పార్ట్ 4 పంపించావు.
పార్ట్ 1 పార్ట్ 2 కూడా ఉండేరా. పంపిస్తారు రేపు. నాకు ఏదో మర్చిపోయినాను అందులో ఏదో కొంచెం వర్క్ ఎక్కువగా ఉండి మర్చిపోయినా.
అంటే అప్లోడ్ చేస్తున్నావు ఆల్రెడీ?
రేపు మార్నింగ్ చేస్తాలే. చేస్తున్నాను ఆల్రెడీ. ఊరికి మెయిల్ సెండ్ చేయటం అంతే.
అచ్చా సరే నీకు ఫ్రీ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒకసారి అది యాడ్ చెయ్యి, నేను తీసుకుంటాను. సరే బాయ్.
ఓకే బాయ్. భవానీ, మహేష్
చెప్పన్నా.
అది బ్యాటరీ లోగా ఉంది మహేష్. ఇది అయిపోయేటట్టుంది.
ఓకే అన్న.
ఎప్పుడు మార్నింగ్ సాటర్డే కదా?
సాటర్డే మార్నింగ్ నువ్వు పెట్టమన్నావు ఒక మెయిల్ పెట్టమన్నావు. పెట్టాను. పెట్టాను. రీషెడ్యూల్ మండే అని పెట్టాను.
ఓకే ఓకే అయితే ఇబ్బంది
వాళ్ళు ఏమన్నా రిప్లై ఇస్తే నీకు ఫార్వర్డ్ చేస్తాను.
ఏముండదులే రిప్లై. ఈ విధంగా ఫర్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ లైక్ నో ఐ కేమ్ టు మై హోమ్ టౌన్ సో ఐ వాజ్ అనేబుల్ టు అటెండ్ ద కాల్ అని చెప్పు.
ఓకే పెట్టాను ఆల్రెడీ అదే మెసేజ్.
సరే సరే. అంటే రేపు ఇంకా పీడిఎఫ్ కూడా ఎక్స్ట్రాక్షన్ జరుగుతుంది కాబట్టి ఒకవేళ మండే అనుకో పీడిఎఫ్ ఈ విధంగా మామూలుగా నువ్వు ఏ ఆటోమేషన్ చేసి ఒకవేళ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను లేకపోయినా నువ్వు అటెండ్ అయినా సో ఒక ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ వచ్చింది కదా.
ఓకే అన్న. ఓకే అన్న. ఎప్పుడన్నా సండే బయలుదేరుతావా అక్కడి నుంచి?
అవునవును.
సండే బయలుదేరితే మండే ఉంటావాలన్నా.
నేను సండే ఖచ్చితంగా బయలుదేరుతాను. మళ్ళీ నాకు మండే వేరే అబ్బాయి జాయినింగ్ ఉంది కదా.
ఓకే ఓకే.
అబ్బాయి అక్కడికి వస్తాడు, చెన్నై వస్తాను అన్నాడు.
ఓకే అన్న. ఓకే అన్న.
సరే అయితే తినేరా?
లేదన్నా తినాలి, ఇంకా కింద దోశలు పోస్తుంది.
సరే
సరే అన్న.
ఓకే అయితే బాయ్.